Hey guys, it's Brinneisha. I just watched The Devil Wears Prada and I started taking off my makeup. I just did a video about the look I got and started taking it off, so you can see that video. But let's talk about The Devil Wears Prada. That's what I was getting ready for, so let's get ready to talk about The Devil Wears Prada. I think it's really funny. I spent my day at like the Dior and like YSL counters, getting makeup, trying on different products, seeing like what I wanted to get. And then Dior has a huge influence in this movie. And I think that's really funny because Dior has a huge influence in my life. I love Dior. It's kind of one of my favorite brands. But anyways, let's talk about some makeup. I do think that there's a Belly and the Beast moment where Emily and Andy go into Miranda's hotel room in Italy. And I do believe that Emily is wearing an actual green Dior eyeliner in that scene. I think I've seen it at the counters myself. So that is one cool thing. But some makeup faux pas is like, so when Anne Hathaway is wearing like this blue glittery dress at like the 75th birthday party of whoever is gonna maybe die, spoiler alert, she's wearing a nice blue sparkly eyeshadow, and like maybe I would have done it a little bit differently, added a little bit more. But like what's actually really offensive, if you watch like makeup gurus like Ask Ellen Beauty and people like that, your smoky eye is about smoke. And so this smoke concept, people like take out a line. So you like want to take your dark color and push it down into that eyelash zone. You want to use the dark color and wisp it out. Then use your liner. Keep your dark colors concentrated in one area. And there's a scene where Andy gets like a $350,000 book offer, and her smoky eye is just all up to her eyebrow. Then later in the movie, it doesn't look like that. So maybe it's the lighting. Maybe I'm being ridiculous, but it doesn't look like the smoky eye was executed properly. Other weird thing is like Miranda and Andy get out of a helicopter and their hair doesn't move. One cool thing is that the blue sweater from the original film is featured at the end of this sequel. And that at the end of the movie, you see like Nigel kind of set the text that makes the plot of the whole movie happen. I've always like, looking back at it, it's like there's always something that drew me to the original Devil Wears Prada. And like now that I'm an adult, I kind of see it as like, Andy's an intern, she's an entry-level person, and I think it's applicable all across the board. Like you get an entry-level position, you have a dream and a vision of what your career should be, aspirations and goals, but you get stuck doing all these random tasks, like getting coffee, going to the copier machine, setting up a meeting, trying to get a contact, like all these things in the business world that are just constant and make your job hard, especially just entering any barrier to entry. My favorite quote from the movie is at the end where Emily says, "Don't you know that shared carbs have no calories?" So other makeup thing is like with Meryl Streep's lip, on her bottom lip, there's like a lot of light reflection distortion, and it looks like the bottom of her lip is feathered really bad. Either from, I would believe it's light distortion, but it looks really weird, especially when she's in the conference room before they go to Italy. Right before the climax of the film, or somewhere around that time, Miranda's wearing a jacket with jewels on it, and it's like this dark peacocky color. I can't tell because of the filters and stuff, but it reminds me of Kurt Geiger. Am I holding this violin, or am I holding this violin? At some point in the film, there's a funeral, and the first chair violin is playing up in this area at the fingerboard. You don't play here ever. Now, if you want to play on the fingerboard, you can play here, kind of where my nail is. That's the quiet zone, the soft zone, the weak zone, whatever you want to call it. Now, on the violin, you're going to play in this area. Okay, violin's very attitude. I'm wearing acrylic nails. But hopefully you get the gist. I just think that was really weird because the film does talk about symphonies, other forms of art, and stuff like that. So, yeah. I want to talk about one thing about costuming. So Anne Hathaway wears like these blacks and nudes and see-throughs and all of those different things. And it just reminds me of Femme Fatale. So if you know the album Femme Fatale by Britney Spears and the kind of costuming she wore to execute her choreography for those songs and around that area and even in Las Vegas is black and nude Femme Fatale. And there's something about black and nude in the way that's portrayed in the film that's like a couture version of what Britney Spears had portrayed in her costuming and her choreography and her performances. And I really got a Femme Fatale version of Andy's character this time. That is my all over the place. Jeez Louise. All over the place analysis of Devil Wears Prada 2 sequel, whatever you want to call it. I didn't really even get unready. I've got an entire face to take off, and I hope everyone's having a great weekend. Thank you, Cody and Jasper, for taking me to the film. Also, the original sweater, the millennial sweater, and quite a good few references. I did focus on negative things. That's how I analyzed things at first. But don't think it was a bad movie. I'm pregnant with your baby. Goodbye.